So in 2012, I basically took after 2008, I took some time off. I wanted to kind of get away from the sport. I'd never really taken.
I wanted to sleep in on a Sunday. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry,
but I wanted to be a kid. I think that for me, I was like, what does this feel like, right? And then there were days there were weeks where I wasn't even showing up for practice. 2 years out from the 2012 games. So at that point, I was kind of 1 foot on the boat, 1 foot on the dock, and 2 years out is when I really started to ramp up and try to really get fully prepared, even though it takes 4 years to get ready for an Olympics. So I kind of was like 65, 75%. So, being able to do what I did, I was pissed at myself more than anything else. I probably shouldn't have swam some of those races, but me being as stubborn as I was and wanting to win everything that I could, I wanted to.
Yeah, because when you get back in the moment, you don't think about the 2 years prior that you were kind of operating. You're like, I'm back in it. And what's the thing, the pain of regret and the pain of something? You felt that, I assume? That's why going into 16, it was a different animal? Like when you were in 2012, you felt different in the pool and you were like, this is my fault?
Without question. Like I knew that I got the results that I deserved in 2012. And that was kind of like a what if moment. Like I didn't want to look down the road 20 years and say, what if I just would have pulled my head out of my ass and done something right and done something with intention.
You're a human, bro.
That's all it was.
Hey,
but that's for me, like to retire from a career that you've spent your whole life to, you want to finish with a good taste in your mouth. And what I had in 2012 wasn't that. So I didn't want to walk away from the sport at that time because I still had unfinished business. So coming back in 16, being able to, win the 200 IM 4 times in a row. Win the 200 fly where I got touched out in 2012. We won a couple relays, right? Like, for me, it was just a perfect way to go out. And I had my firstborn son in the audience. So him and my wife were there. And it was just, the perfect way to put the cherry on top of the cake.
Okay, let's continue that conversation. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, so Michael, talking about, going out on your own terms, you're clearly a competitive psychopath. Like, you don't get to where you're at without being that. How hard was it to actually turn it off and decide to retire, especially with some of your recent comments where I feel like you still feel like you could get in the pool and medal and dominate in these games? Like, how hard was it to actually turn it off and just be like, nope, I'm done. I'm good with where what I've accomplished?
I think in the swimming chapter of it was pretty simple because there weren't really any other goals that I had, right? Like I thought I was breaking the world record in the 200 IM in 16 and I was just short, right? Like medals for me, like winning more medals. No. I know, right? I swear I was winning the race by a body length. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know what these guys are capable of. I know the times they've gone this year. I should be smashing this world record. And I hit the wall and I remember looking up and being like, but then I realized that I had won that race in 4 straight Olympics. So like for me, like that's kind of cool. Like that's a pretty cool stat. But I think back to your question, like, retiring from the sport of swimming, it was just pretty easy. I had to find different ways to channel that competitiveness. I have a golf club sitting next to me. Like I'm a psycho golfer. So like I've kind of invested a lot of time there. But I also have 4 kids. So, there are different things that I'm trying to achieve and accomplish. And, mental health is something that I'm really trying to tackle as well. So things that I'm very passionate about, I think help me keep my mind clear and keep me just being me.
Well, also a businessman, Chili Goat Tubs is, the Goat Tubs are awesome. I see the thing. Can't wait to get one. Cannot wait to get one.
You got one. They chatted yesterday or the day before, and they are going to, I guess I just need your address now. And since you guys are right down the road from the plant, it'll be there quick.
Yes. I'm paying for it though. I want to support the biz, so that is gonna.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but
no problem.
I'd like to gift one to the Thunderdome.
All right, so I'll buy one for my house then.
If you insist.
I do.
There you go. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. We did it there.
Thank you.
So whenever you say, "Oh, yeah, that was pretty cool. I just won the same event 4 times at 4 Olympics," and then people talk about you being the greatest Olympian of all time, like, do you know that? Do you feel that? Was there a moment where you forgot that about yourself, like whenever you leave the sport, like legitimately? Because I think it was a conversation amongst the swimming community whenever you were coming back this year when I was there, that everybody was like pumped that you were getting like, I don't want to say back into it. I don't know if there was a little separation or if there was any of that.
There was never a separation. It's just, whenever I'm able to come to meets, I try to come to meets. And I took my family, my wife and I went to World Championships last year. I went to Olympic trials this year. I covered some. I'll be covering some with NBC over in Paris. So for me, I enjoy being around the sport. This is a sport that I'm still passionate about, and I still want to grow. Australia has the biggest swimming fan base on the planet, and for me, I'd like to showcase really what we can do as a country. I was kind of weary of what was going to happen with the team, but after seeing kind of what we've really done over the last 2 or 3 years, like kind of really making some headwaves, and obviously after Olympic trials, a couple world records, some American records. The men and women are ready to go.
Hell yeah, they are. In Australia, I guess that is, I learned quickly. Yeah. They're trying to
big time rivalry.
They're trying to get you back in the pool. They're trying to get you back in the pool, pal.
Hey, somebody wants to poke the bear.
I heard.
It'll take a lot.
What did that Aussie say about Michael Phelps? They said he couldn't swim.
The guy's washed up.
What did I forget what he said?
He said, Michael Phelps is, really, he's kind of a second-rate swimmer. Actually, if you think about it, he's not the greatest ever. Not in my book.
That was exactly
Somebody sent me a stat of my career against Aussies in the Olympic Games and World Championships. Go look up those numbers.
Hell yeah.
And I'm not talking shit. I'm just talking facts.
No, yeah, we're just talking. Hey, this is history. This is a history lesson. Yep. This is not a.
Correct.
It's not a
Correct.
shit talking. This is certainly one of them here. But aside from
but also I will say, by saying that, I have some of my best friends in the swimming world are Australian.
Yeah.
Like Grant Hackett, Ian Thorpe are some of my closest mates who I still talk to regularly. Right. So like when we're in the pool, we want to literally beat the living crap out of you. Like, we don't care where you're from. Like, we want to win, period. But out of the pool, we are friends. Like, there's no harshness between us. Like, it is, competition is competition, right?
Yeah, but we're not losing to the Aussies.
We're not losing.
I agree, especially with that lady I saw on the news where she said, you hear that national anthem and you want to puke. It's like, lady,
whoa,
you need to slow it down.
You take a shot at our national anthem, that's problems.
Concur. That's kind of.
We got problems.
We can't wait for next week. But you talk about the team and how it's built. We got some mainstays. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, in the backstroke, Michael, it's usually death taxes Ryan Murphy. He's 29 now. Can we lock him in winning in the backstroke at plus 160?
I mean, there are a couple. I haven't seen any lines. I saw some of trials that I thought you could hammer. Are you talking in the 100 or the 200 back? Sorry, I know too much about this.
Whichever one you tell us, 100 or the 200. Murphy's huge. That dude is he is a barn.
Backstrokers are big units. I mean, they are massive, 6-pack. There's not an ounce of fat. I mean, that's one of the hardest races, I think, to swim long course, just because it's so taxing on your legs, especially because you're spending so much time underneath the water. And if you look at what Murphy does, that's his specialty. I do like Murph's chances. I know what he's gone through over the last year or two, really to get himself ready for this last one. I think he's got a great shot. Ledecky, I don't know what the odds are in the 800. That's probably another one that she'll win.
How about the minus 20,000 one for the mile swim for her? How about that? That seems like a good bet.
Bro. Yeah, if you want to lay $1 million, go ahead.
Connor's got a question for you, Phil.
Yeah, Phelps, in between your, races, what are you doing? And then also, what kind of game are you sharing with the swimmers now? Like, are you giving them the recipe? Like, hey, I did this, this, and this at this time and this time, so that they kind of have, like, not the blessing from Michael Phelps, but kind of the recipe for a gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple athletes on the team that do reach out. My number is open to the team, has been ever since I retired. I'd like to help them accomplish whatever goals and dreams they want to accomplish. So a couple of them have kind of chimed into me asking about like the mental approach of it and really kind of what to really think. What are you going to experience through these next couple of weeks, right? Because you go through the Olympic trials, which is so difficult, and it's almost harder than the Olympic Games. You have 2,500 people that are swimming for 2 spots, right? So then you get to the Olympics, and the Olympic Games is the same exact thing as every other meet, right? It's just the Olympic Games. The pool is the same. The temperature is the same. The lights are the same. That's it. So I try to help people just talk through whatever they're I don't know, whatever they're worried about, whatever they're nervous about, because they've done the preparation to get to that point, right? It's because at that point, it's just kind of let me out of that cage and let me go.
Okay, and there's some people in like our sport that show up when the lights are the brightest, and then there's some people, obviously, they're a little bit different. At Lucas Oil, that was a lot of what the conversation I was having with Mr. Sockwell and the entire USA swimming team. It's like, this is the biggest crowd that all of the most, like, obviously it's a world record, but like some of these people have not swam in front of a group of people like this ever before. So they were like intrigued to see how they handled it. And I didn't even think about swimming having to handle that because it's all timing, right? So like all you gotta do is just accidentally one time and then it's all ruined. 4 years worth of work is worth nothing. Like, is that the mindset of it going in?
I mean, you got one chance every 4 years.
So what a nightmare.
Right?
You Olympians are insane. No. It's just like no chance to get back. You know, like Nathan Chen, remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nathan Chen, a couple Winter Olympics ago. 2 Winter Olympics ago. I learned, and we are obnoxious about and thank you for everything you provided us.
Yeah. Awesome.
We were able to talk shit so much because it was so much fun. It was all in prime time and the way it all went. But Nathan Chen, I learned about this guy on like a news thing. They did his entire special. And I was like, we got the guy. So literally led the show. I'm like, figure skating. Sorry about it. It's our sport. This guy's going to be here for the next 10 years. And then literally did perfect and then slipped and fell. Over. Yeah. Failure. This guy sucks. This guy wasted his entire life doing this because his just lost a blade in the middle of a.
But the crazy thing is like, what if you're what if you don't get the right warm up? What if your routine is off? Like,
what if you didn't sleep well? What if you didn't sleep well the night before?
Right? Without question. Like when I was in Sydney, my very first Olympics, I took the wrong credential. I took my roommate's credential by accident and went to the pool. And then I couldn't get back into the village because I had his credential. I was 15 years old. I'm like, oh shit, this sucks. So I ended up being like 10 minutes off of my normal routine. And sometimes that's all it takes to kind of flip the switch on somebody.
Yeah, I couldn't even fathom just waking up. I don't feel good today.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it doesn't matter because you've worked for 14 years for today. So go ahead.
I had that feeling before this race, that photo I was talking about before that I won by 100th of a second in 2008. After I won the 200 IM, I literally said to Bob, I said, I got nothing left.
Your problem, buddy. Yeah. That is.
I was like, okay, let's go. We got one more race. No problem. I'll get hyped for it. And at that point, we had Cobes, we had Braun, we had, President up in the stands. And I'm like, I'm going. I'm not losing this race.
Oh, yeah. I remember the whole scene with the Wolverines on there were coming through. Where it was they had a camera on. The Phelps show is about to begin in about 13 minutes or so. As you see right now, he is taking his massive wingspan and smacking it the big boom or whatever the hell. I mean, it was awesome. You were a show. You were great for our country. Happy to hear that you were able to pull. I do like the fact that Bob was just references Bob. Do I know who Bob is?
Bob is my coach, Bob Bowman. He was my coach for 22, 23 years.
Still coaching?
He is. He just took the head coaching job at University of Texas. He won the national championship here at ASU last year, and then just got offered the Texas role. And that's a big opportunity. Their setup down there is second to none.